Welcome to the Nordhavn N71 a deep dive, ladies and gents. So my goal in this video today is to give you the most comprehensive deep dive into the systems and the features of the N71, essentially available on the internet today. And then for those of you who are seriously interested in buying one of these, you can join us in the next video where we do a multi-day sea trial and basically test every system on the vessel to give you a real deep insight of what this thing is capable of doing. I think the demographic of owner that a Nordhavn will appeal to is someone who is experienced, someone who has a clear idea on what mission profile is exciting for them right now. And if it's not obvious already, a boat like this, the mission profile is going around the world. It's an independent, ultra capable, luxurious cruising yacht that a couple can handle. So for those of you who are looking for fully crewed boats, yes, it could be possible on a Nordhavn, but I'm going to argue that these boats appeal to the independent people who are happy to learn, who are happy to explore, and they're happy to manage the boat themselves. And the way these boats have been designed and built, and we're now in almost day 4 of our time aboard, so I'm speaking from experience, you can run the thing yourself. You can understand the systems. You can even get your head around the size and the volume of this if it is a bigger boat that you are used to. I've literally just been doing it myself this morning. I'm amazed by the maneuverability is the word I was looking for, in close quarters. So it's not daunting, it's doable, and it's really nice. So, g'day, my name's Dan Jones, you're watching Dan's Boat Life. I really enjoy coming to America, and this is actually my first time to the West Coast, so it's a bit exciting to be here. The waters are amazing. I didn't realize Catalina Island, it basically looks like you could be in the Mediterranean. It's stunning, so you're very lucky to have this available to you so close to the coast. Anyway, let's get into the details. Up here on the Flybridge, understand all Nordhavns, they've actually sold 10 of these N71s at the time of filming this video. They are essentially a custom build. When we go through the interior of this boat, it's kind of up to you how you wish to finish it, because the interior is a stick build. They are building everything with shipwrights, multi-generations. The factory in Taiwan, it's a multi-generational factory. You got people who have been there for decades and they're just passing on their experience. So what you get, the final product, can be completely different to one of the 9 other boats already in build. So essentially what's happening here, we've got our multifunctional display, we've got our engine diagnostics and our stabilizer AB track, we've got horn, we actually have our throttles for the Flybridge, autopilot, thrusters, searchlight, VHF, wheel steering. You don't even need to have wheel steering on a Nordhavn because it is fully fly-by-wire with triple redundancy, actually quadruple if you count the emergency tiller. You can steer them with those small little tiller steering systems. I've forgotten the name, jump in the comments if you can remind me, but it's just an option. Beautiful big helm chairs with footrests. As you can see, they still have the plastic on them. This boat is about 95% ready before handover. Deep storage on both sides of the helm, perfect for storing light items. I'm not a fan of putting heavy items up on the Flybridge. It just doesn't make sense. I'll put the heavy stuff down low if I can. But this is lovely, comfortable, spacious, and social, which you're going to see in a second. Also protected from the rain, protected from the sun, and I'm a big fan, because I come from a hot country and the sun's a big thing for us, but it will be for you if you go to the tropics. Having a soft roof, it's just kind of not as good. So if you can have a hard roof with the built-in lights, full protection at all times, no water dripping through, and it's going to last the life of the boat. And we've got other options which I'm going to talk to you about when we get there. We're proceeding at about 7 to 8 knots right now. I don't have any wind in my seated position here. That wind deflector, it is actually sending it up and over. So it's not just for the tropics, it could be for moderate climates. Come up here and drive. Yes, you could enclose this area with isinglass, but you do you, and I'm just pointing out or making the argument that we've already got a protected bridge to operate the vessel from downstairs, so you can kind of just leave this for the nice days and head downstairs as you see fit. This is cool. So it's an option, but we've got a hot tub. I think it's fantastic. So everyone can sit in here. We've even got this social bar area with a couple of bar stools, and I do think the only issue that I've found with it so far is passing pina coladas from here to the skipper. That's probably doable actually. He just can't reach over and get it from the table, so maybe that's not a problem. It's the design of the water makers. We've actually got double water makers for redundancy, have been set up to fill the hot tub and not draw from your main tanks. So if you've got the water makers in action or in operation, you can fill and heat the hot tub without affecting your overall water storage capacity. We'll go down there later on and point out some of those details. But back to the roof. This is, obviously, we mount our mast, our multiple radars, our horns, our communications, our security and camera for better sight lines aft and around can be up there. We've even got wind instruments and our communication aerials. So all of the important stuff is up here. But what you may or may not be able to see on the center line, we have the Starlink. A lot of people are doing double Starlinks for redundancy now, because you can literally turn a Nordhavn into your floating global office if you wish, because this boat does have an office. We're going to get to that later in the video. But with all the available real estate here, you can even install a massive walk-on solar array for extra redundancy. On this boat, it's going to be like your 4th or 5th power redundancy, because we've already got massive capacity with the double alternators on both motors, because she's a twin shaft drive vessel. We also have the primary genset, the backup genset, and the massive lithium house array, which actually has enough power to run the boat and her systems all through the night, so you can have a good night's sleep without running the genset. So it's super, super cool. In terms of access around the boat, this is one option to get down to the bridge. Didn't actually look in here. Oh crikey, look at all the storage in there. So that's super deep. That's actually that's as deep as this is long. You can operate this with one hand. I've just done it in the last video, but I would actually like to go down this way to show you this office, because it's super cool. Not just an office, it could be your master bedroom if you wish, but come and have a look, see what you think. So, a lot of options with this space. I want to head straight in here. I'm actually going to take this off because it's warming up. Right now, it looks like a blank canvas, but the current owner is setting up this space as his own office. With the Starlink, you can now run your business from anywhere. So that's what he's currently doing with the available space. But quite a few of these, quite a few of the owners have actually set up this space as the master cabin, or at least an option for the master cabin. Wait till you see the actual master cabin. It's super luxurious. We do have a head and shower, which we're going to have a look at in a second, accessible from the bridge. But the current available space is going to be super nice. Come in and have a look at your view, because imagine, ignore my jacket, this is your morning views, or this is your office space. my mind's been going crazy when I think about this. I would love to operate my YouTube channel from a boat like this as I cruise around the world, and I can see you could turn this into a recording or a podcast studio. You can operate it as an office. You could also operate it as occasional sleeping if you want to come and spend time up here. I can imagine you could even do some Pullman berths on this bulkhead here if you wish. All the way down the side is storage for your bits and pieces. You can even, if you wish, extend this all the way out to the side. So we have a side deck at the moment, which I'm going to show you, but you can delete that space and push the cabin out if you wanted to, because we can still transit up the starboard side. So we actually have beautiful finishings. It's all really, really well done. And I note, well, actually you can listen for yourself because we're in the ocean and the furniture is not making creaky and croning noises as we roll through the waves. But this is a drop-down TV just up here, and then everything's air conditioned. We've got beautiful lights. We'll see this as we make our way through the boat. And essentially you can choose natural air, air conditioned, and you can also have the bug screen, boom, that's right throughout the boat, so you can kind of set the environment that you need. Then out here, I don't know where I put my sunnies, so I'm going to try and keep going with this. You can do what you want. You can use this space as a sun deck. You could definitely install a small crane and put smaller tenders or kayaks up here. We have an 8-man life raft and another deployment system on the port side for another 8-man life raft should you wish. Come with me. This is actually the space that I was talking about. You could potentially delete this all the way up to the door that goes into the bridge. We're going to come back to that later on because I want to talk about these doors. They're custom made by the factory. But just pay attention to the overhang. It's proper trawler yacht stuff. So we don't have, as you can see right now, the sun's heating up. We don't have heat load on the glass, therefore keeping the temperature inside a little bit more consistent. Look at the height and also look at the carefully selected areas, but not overly done, of highly polished timber. So from a maintenance perspective, it's awesome. And from a looks perspective, it's great too. This is one of the 3 wing stations on this current boat. We have throttle and thruster and engine controls plus horn. You can also option it with rudder control. It's a twin engine, shaft drive, full keel, ballasted boat. And so it's up to you whether you want to add the rudder control as well. Inside here, we actually have storage, deep storage. I'll just show you in here for fenders, for lines, for extra bits and pieces. But over on the starboard side, we've actually got fuel bunkering. So, as I'm about to show you, this is our tender deck. It's awesome. We deploy both of these tenders in the next video and we operate the crane and show you how to do it. But if you are doing a long trip, which I hope you do on a boat like this, this is where you can bunker fuel. I'll just show you. You've even got your own little fuel nozzle and everything just there. And it holds 40 gallons of extra fuel, but you could absolutely store more jerry cans in these vented lockers. This is our other wing station on the starboard side, and it's worth noting your sight lines down each side are perfect, but if you want to back in for some med mooring, we have another wing station which we're going to get to a little bit later. Look at the forward slope of the glass. That's going to cut out, as you can literally see in the sun right now, the heat load, so that's going to make life a little bit easier for you. If I just unlock here, it's also worth noting this is a one-hand operation, and then it locks in the open position with this just here, so it's not going to come closing itself when you don't want it to. So the current owner of this boat, Jason, I'll leave a link to his website down below in the description. Actually, he's got some really cool plans for this thing, so you should follow along. But he's got the high field as the daily driver and the Stabby Craft as the adventure boat, and he's also got some other toys. So the crane capacity is more than enough for both. We demonstrate that in the next video, and it's got a remote control, a wireless remote, so you can walk around the deck and operate the tenders. If you want to board, we have a custom ladder system which deploys off the port or the starboard side. So you just open this gate, you deploy the ladder into these custom aluminium fittings, and then you descend down to board the tender. We are looking at some other possibilities. We've just been testing and playing with it all week, potentially introducing some sort of snap release system to then drift the tender back on her painter line. Massive, strong, overdone stainless through the fairleads. The stainless is really, really nice on these Nordhavns. Just pay attention to all the joins and all the areas where welding has happened and it's been polished down to within an inch of its life. That means it's going to last a long time. And look, I imagine most of you looking at this video are used to Nordhavn, or you maybe already have a Nordhavn. So just go and look at a 10-year-old Nordhavn and compare it to a modern production boat, and you'll work that out for yourself. This is water intake for one of the water tanks. You can see the decks are drained, but see this? These are massive scuppers because this is a CE Category A boat. I just want you to get the camera and go forward and see how much water can escape the foredeck if you take a big green one on board. That's because it's CE Category A Ocean. That is the top CE rating, so you have to have those sorts of things calculated into the design. That's my fault, I think I left that here yesterday, my bad. So in terms of space up on the foredeck, it depends how big the tenders you deploy are, and so you need to work that out, and you just need to work out what your mission profile is. Do you want to fish? Are you going to cool bars in Europe, or what are you doing? And then the tender selection will come. This mast is pretty cool. As you can see, we've actually got floodlights for night operations, and we can also mount other instrumentation up there. I do want to point out, because so many boats you'll see on my channel, to be honest, they're going to have floodlights just mounted back above the bridge or somewhere above the helm. Yes, that's going to give you some light, but depending on how it's been designed, it's also going to bathe a bucket load of light on the foredeck, and if you're in the wrong conditions, it's going to bounce back in your eyes, so it actually just makes it hard to operate. So one solution to that is mounting a spotlight on a mast forward. Okay, so that is controllable from the helm. That allows you to come into an unknown mooring field at night time, as I hope you are doing. Actually, why don't you guys go over there so you don't get any sun in your eyes? And I hope you appreciate this background because I'm loving it. I think I have the best job in the world. But that allows you to put the spotlight on scan and then look for dangers. I'm not a fan of unknown fishermen's nets and mooring buoys. I'd like to avoid those. And this owner, he's still playing around with the final positioning. As you can see, it's not been connected up yet. He's actually done a massive bar light for that same reason. So that's going to give him a full flood, and that's going to give him a spot. But we've also got navigation lights, and you can mount other instrumentation up there should you wish. Obviously, we can put a bow flag up there, but this area, this platform here, is super useful. I've been involved in the anchoring of the vessel about 4 times, maybe more over the last couple of days now. So giving you this raised platform, I've now got full sight and security with this rail to sight the anchor. Remember, you can also do this with cameras as well, so it's not essential. I'm just saying this is an option for you because we've got hydraulic and we have electric anchor systems, all on a huge amount of gal chain, but stainless anchors and beautiful stainless bow rollers, heavily built. But this allows you to sight it. We can operate it with foot pedals from up here in the bow, but they can also obviously operate it from the bridge. This is a chain lock just here, but we also have, actually, we just use this. This is how you can release the clutch in the windlass itself. And then we also have a brake on the drum here. So 1, 2, 3 options to secure the anchor. You can see same size cleats for the mooring lines on the bow, and it's worth pointing out we have rope protectors just here, so when you exit the fair leads you've got seriously good protection with that stainless. And this is what I was talking about, just whenever you're looking at a boat, if you see really smooth joins, that means someone has spent a lot of money with the intention of making your stainless steel last a lifetime. If you look at that join and there's all these little bubbles, or you can see lots of welds, it's not going to last as long, because salt water is going to get caught up in there and it's going to start doing its thing. Even though it's stainless, it'll still rust. So, dual bow rollers, same size anchors, heaps of redundancy, and you can also deploy a stern anchor depending on what, again, your mission profile is. This is access down into the chain locker, and further down, deeper in the boat, it is a bulbous bow. We actually have a waterproof collision bulkhead, but there's multiple waterproof bulkheads. We'll get to that again later in the video. That's the foot pedal operation for the other windlass just there. So you definitely just want to be careful when you're operating. So I would suggest when you've released the brake, step up on the platform and then operate safely so you don't have any feet too close to the chain. Seems logical, doesn't it? Okay, storage here, we actually have some deflated fenders. I would suggest if you're buying one of these, get these fenders, they're awesome. Your wife will love you, because once you move up to a boat of this caliber, if you do traditional fenders, they're just too heavy. So it's actually a bit of a drama if you're trying to get your missus and you wanted to come boating with you regularly and you're having to ask her to deploy the old-fashioned fenders. It's not going to be a fun time. So I would suggest that's a better solution. We also have another storage one on the other side, and just pay attention. The couple of inches of raised dam and drain here means that any muck that is developing up on the foredeck stays on the foredeck. However, it should be minimal because we have a massive jet chain wash which will wash your chain as it comes on board. But we're on a boat, so that is the backup redundancy. So we can secure some lines just here. So this is another option, but our primary cleats, and then we can secure a line. These are the scuppers that I was talking about. These are natural air ventilation down below, but they're also escape hatches. So every cabin, even below deck where you are below the waterline, has 2 exit points. So in an emergency, if you couldn't exit on the main exit, there's always a second one, even breaking through the floor and going into the next cabin to exit. So in case of fire, they have considered that. Again, that's part of your Cat A ocean. So this is just opposing as we just went around the starboard side. This is the port side. Depending on how you set up the boat and what you're doing with your tenders and cranes, you may deploy that side or the other side. Other water in, cleats, same again. And then just stepping over, I can demonstrate it's the one arm operation with this door. If you guys come along, and then I think what we'll do, come and join me so you can stand there, and then we'll make our way downstairs. But I'll cut to some B-roll for this, when you have the tenders off the deck, just imagine this space as a whatever you want it to be. I'm imagining some party lights from the mast up to there, a big dining table, and everyone can dress up in tuxedos and have board shorts underneath and have a good time. It really would be quite the event in the Marquesas or some cool tropical place. Invite all your boat friends and have a party there if you wish. Come on with me. Let's head down. We'll get back to the bridge, but that is access into the bridge starboard, because we have this walkway, super safe. I would probably still suggest going down backwards, but you got something to hold on to. We have courtesy lights. If you're seeing these square things dotted all the way around the boat, that's what they are. And then every cabin has got its own lights as well. Come on. All right, guys, so we're gonna head straight out on the swim platform. I'll show you what's out here and then we'll make our way through the entire vessel. Just be careful, we're underway doing almost 10 knots. Catalina Island in the background. So, we actually have our town water connection just in here, so you can be plugged into water, and it does have a system on board that will clean the water for you, for both having clean water for washing, and also you can then filter it again for drinking. We have a swim shower just here, that's hot and cold. Courtesy lights, that's your basically your fair leads for securing the boat up into the main cleats. Those cleats are for the tenders, not for securing the boats. These are removable, and you can essentially do what you wish out here depending on your mission for the vessel. I should have locked that in the open position. There we go, that's better. Silly Dan. Okay, your shore power is plugged in here and here. Basically, you've got one plug for charging up the systems and another one for AC. So if you're in the tropics, you can plug the AC in directly, and then you're not going to draw from the rest of the boat because you have enough power. Again, pay attention to the elegantly done, overly varnished timber and this beautiful table here. I like just having a few highlights of timber, but not so much timber that the boat is hard to maintain. So, this thing at her LOA, I said to the guys when I got on what is now the beginning of this week, it has super yacht vibes. It's such a voluminous boat. It's so impressive from the dock, and the way it's been designed, carrying her beam all the way around the boat, you can lose people on here. It's so big. I'm just going to pace this out for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, over 6 meters from there to there. It is a potential dance floor if you wish it to be. Downlights overhang all the way out here. So for those of you up in the Pacific Northwest or other areas where it's cold, you could enclose this area with isinglass and then just run another heater into this part of the boat and make it usable all year round. But let's just focus on how this boat has been set up, because when we get inside, I want you to essentially think of this as a blank canvas. This is what this owner has done to this boat, but there's 9 other already finished or on their way, and every boat is custom and different. So it's really up to you in terms of what your mission profile is and how you intend to use the boat. You then work out what layout and features you want. So, sink, electric barbie, we have fire operation, emergency fire operation. We've got drawers just in here. We've got a usable space just here. And then we've got the Maxwell winch for docking the boat, especially useful in med mooring, foot control, same cleats that we saw before. Deep storage tucked in underneath, also accessible from underneath the blankets. Nice little pop-on mood lights here, creates a nice little vibe of an evening. This will also turn into a beautiful day bed because they're dropped down, and we actually have storage of that cushion in this big high locker here. So all sorts of long items, boat hooks, deck brushes, that sort of thing could stow in here, including the cushions. But then we also have 2 great big fridges like so in here, so you can keep a lot of your drinks here, but much more refrigeration options forward. Now, if you see any of these little doors, they're dotted all the way around the boat. It's a freshwater deck wash, so you can choose whatever hose suits you, and you can wash the whole boat down. You don't need to be dragging the hose from section to section, because there is one on every deck, forward and aft. This is one access point into the aft lazarette. There's so much going on down there. We're going to cover that in more detail in the next video, but access to the rudder stocks, the steering gear, the second gen set, the Glendennings, lots and lots of things going on. Also storage should you wish. Now, For those of you who have seen some of the older Nordhavns, you may not be familiar with them having these beautiful concertina doors out back here. So this is more of your modern vibes, because this is what you would expect to see on many modern European boats. We do have, because it's a Category A ocean, a bit of a step over to stop any flooding coming in. And these things are super strong, but we've also got fly screens that pull out, so this whole area can be protected. And now this is the blank canvas. So I'll explain what's going on this boat, but just if you want to change the timber, if you even want to delete those stairs that I came down on, you can do that. You can't change the hull and some of the structural bulkheads and waterproof bulkheads, but anything above and beyond, it's kind of up to you. Do remember, this boat is about 95% in the commissioning stages, so if you see wires like that, it's because the electric blinds haven't been installed yet, that's why. So, storage, hanging storage for your jackets. We've got air conditioning, we've got lighting, lots and lots of options for the lighting, all done with English, and it tells you what's going on. I like that because so many boats seem to leave the buttons blank and I forget which button does what. This owner has done these custom seats and left this space open for now. As you may notice, this cutout in the floor is for long-term maintenance. If you ever had to lift an engine out of the engine bay and get it out of the boat, it has been designed to facilitate that. So, we have storage, we've got beautiful marbles, lovely timber, overhead air conditioning, really nicely done overheads with the timber trims. But I think it's also worth pointing out, these windows are probably the most outstanding sort of feature for this part of the boat, because they're absolutely massive, they're immensely strong, and from every part of this space, you're sort of really appreciating views. That wasn't something that you could get so much pleasure from on older designs or original trawlers. They would tend to go for slightly smaller windows, so that's a nice feature. So over here, all the way down the side, I'm not going to open everything, it's a privately owned boat and they're preparing to do their own cruise, so I don't need to open every cupboard, but if you can just get a feel for the depth, drawers, cupboards, storage everywhere. This hatch here, as I was referring to before, every cabin has an escape, a secondary escape point. So this is that secondary escape point, which has been my cabin for the week. So we'll show you that when we get down. But I just focus your attention on this part because this is cool. A couple of boats have done this. I think as standard, or a lot of the boats are coming with circular tables in this area, but this particular owner has done this raised, beautiful marble looking, I'm not sure if it's real marble, you can jump in the comments and correct me, table, and we've essentially been using it as the war room. It's the games table, it's the breakfast bar, it's the dining table, it's the workstation. It's really great. I like these chairs that they've found actually. They're super comfy and they seem to work with the space, and it's just very modern, and when you're just hanging out, you've got these views to enjoy. But underneath, the structure that's holding this table up is full of pantry storage, or whatever you want storage essentially. So on both sides, and you can get a sense of the depth by looking at the thickness of the support, it's all storage. So that's super cool. Come into the galley. It's a social galley, and it's also a functional galley because you've got two ways in and out, and you've got enough depth for multiple people to operate and then move around you. So all of this is storage. So it's kind of like you do you. With these big windows, it's quite a pleasant space to operate, and you can still have natural air through that opening port just there. But as you can see, we've got various, I don't even know what that is, a slushy maker or something, but this is a good coffee machine, by the way. All of these kitchen devices, we still have plenty of operational space. We've got a deep sink, we've got a water filter, I think that's soap. This thing pulls out. You don't really need to wash the dishes here because we have a dishwasher just there. But then we've got lots of storage, drawers. This is actually a microwave just here. It's one of these. I've never seen one of these. You just, look at that. That's new to me. I'm sorry if it's that's cool. And then we got 4 burners on the stove and a massive extraction fan, which will take any of the smells overboard. It's not recycling it. In terms of the appliances, we've got Millet cooktop on this one, but it's, again, up to you. So if you want to do something different, talk to the factory and do something different. It's not fixed in stone when it comes to appliances. So more storage, pull-out pantry just here. We actually have, in America, you guys call it trash, but a trash compactor, a bin compactor, and there's actually a special place for all the rubbish, and I'm going to show you that in a second. But these uprights, yes, they're giving maybe some structural support, but they are actually massive pull-out pantries. And then I'll show you on this side, a lot of the drawers, I'll just show you on this one. It's strong because I got a case of water there, and they all lock in the closed position, so they're not going to come out in a seaway. But if you see the depth just here, and this is raised, so everything's going to stay in this position. Not that the boat rocks around because we have active fin stabilization with 0 speed, but we've got immense amounts of storage, pots, pans, pantry. So just for the world cruise that I hope you have in mind, you have so many options. This is, you're dragging around a luxury house on the water. That's basically what's happening. So this is your twin fridge and freezer drawers. They've all got stoppers for obviously being in a seaway, but this whole thing is refrigeration. So we have refrigeration aft, refrigeration in the galley, multiple freezer drawers, and you're not going to notice, but right now it's actually been semi-chilly the last couple of days, but it's warming up just this afternoon, which is great. But we've been standing and enjoying a heated floor. So we got multiple climate control options on this boat. We have air conditioning, we have just natural air ventilation. When we get down to the cabins, we have, it pulls air in if you don't want to use the AC. We can also, via a diesel boiler, we can blow hot air into the cabin as well. But I love this heated floor. We've got it here in the kitchen. You can have it through the whole boat if you want, but also you'll see in a second, we have it on the tiles in the master berth head, which is great. So this is the day head, boom, boom, with your own little sink vanity, beautiful window, and it's essentially day head operations. You don't have to have it. You can actually have a stairs, external stairs, up to the next deck, should you choose. These stairs going up here will take us to the bridge, and these stairs down here will take us to the guest accommodation we're going to do in a second. But I told you that there was a special place to store the rubbish. It's under here. It's actually got a rubber, there you go, we've got our rubbish in it right now. It's got a rubber seal, it's vented and drained, and because you have this rubbish compactor thingamajiggy, you can minimize the volume necessary for all your trash and chuck it in there. I think it's a great idea. But just quickly come with me, there's a couple of cool things I wanted to show you. If you just flick this up, so if you're in a cold place, you don't really want the wind going back if you're enjoying this lower aft deck. So you can actually push this across and it's a windbreak. But I love how they've just tucked it in. It's invisible when it's not in use. If you are parking the boat, this is your lower wing station. And if just come and have a look at your sight lines from here, because now if I'm coming into the dock, I've got much better viz aft and around if I'm doing a med style mooring, so I'm not going to be panicking as much if I was up at one of the upper wing stations. So that's good. Once again, good overhangs or protection just here. This is the engine room ventilation. We have ventilation on both sides, and you can reverse the flow. So if the wind and spray is coming this way, you can set it to exhaust and you can intake from the other side. It's also been raised to this height specifically to prevent any down flooding situation if the boat was heeled over it in a massive storm. Again, category A ocean, you need to have that. If you have the intakes down here, you could have a flooding situation. Also, keep paying attention to these scuppers. They're massive. You don't see this on just regular boats. So if you copped a big one, you're not going to be having so much of a drama. Multiple fuel tanks, but diesel in, again, and the other one, another one on port. They've all got breathers, and we have a look at the management system via the manifold in the next video. Recessed lifebuoy storage and deployment. Now I think we should head in. So just remember, if you wanted, you can delete that head and go up some stairs from here if that was necessary or of interest to you. We currently have some storage in this cupboard here, but this boat has the master in this location. I think the first thing you notice is how soft the carpet is. It's really, really nice. So noise levels, we've got the engines running full bore right now, and you could still have a sleep up here, no problems. I think first thing I notice is how beautifully soft and lovely the carpet is, but then it's these windows. It's definitely these windows. You get to appreciate views. You've got opening ports on either side, overhead, escape hatch, and ventilation, but you just get a really nice, pleasant experience. You still feel kind of private because the window is elevated, and so that's kind of nice. And yeah, I'm just a big fan of that. So this is a great little workstation, makeup area, and then we've got hanging lockers, bedside tables, lots of lighting, from all of these fancy little lights to the reading lights, the down lights. So it's all very nicely done. Up on this forward bulkhead, we've got the TV, we've got multiple drawers, his and hers, hanging lockers just here. We have a nice little seat for sitting down, putting your shoes on, and then much more drawers, hanging lockers, bedside table drawers, and then you could also potentially set this up as a bit of a display should you wish. Just remember, this boat is still midway through her commissioning stage, so bits and pieces are still trying to find a home. But come in, this is the best head in the boat. We've got the twin sinks just here, storage behind the mirrors, plug charging points, and you're not going to notice, but I certainly can, the heated floor. It's so good. This has got to be a new trend. I'm probably a bit late to the party on this, but I'm a massive fan of heated floors. Even moderately cold temperatures, you get the opportunity to stand on heated tiles. All of a sudden, it just reverberates kind of through your body and you lose the chills. So it's great. So heaps of storage, drawers, deep, proper shower, escape, natural air ventilation, air conditioning as well, so it can all be kept dry. You've even got big storage and also kind of like a work area, more storage, and then head, actually you guys just pop in because that's a heated towel rack, those ones. We've got them in all the cabins, and then lots of storage. So from a long-term living perspective, this is probably what you're going to want, because you can go months and years living with the amount of storage space and options that we have available to us. Underneath me here is a hatch to the forward mechanical space, and then we can even move forward and get through the crash collision watertight bulkhead into the bulbous bow and the bow thruster. There's a lot of technical stuff going on down there. We will cover that fully in the next video, so link to that one if you're interested. We'll talk about that at the end of this video. So we're going to check out the bridge, but I'm going to leave that to the end because essentially the boys are busy and they're driving. But come down with me. Good handhold, Underneath these stairs is access to the stabilization. You can have electric or hydraulic stabilization. You can even put a gyro, and you would put that down in the aft lazarette. You'd probably need two because she's about 100 or over 100 tons. But once you come down into this sort of cute little area, this seems like a logical space to arrange all of your towels and bedding and that sort of stuff and fold things here. I'm going to show you where the washer dryer is in a second, but as you can see in this area we can put storm boards, and then these hatches all the way throughout the boat are giving us access to all the essential systems. Essentially all the tanks, from the fuel tanks to the water tanks to the black and the grey, have got these big hatch covers so you can remove, get inside and clean them out should you need. So I'll show you my cabin. This is where I've been staying all week. She's lovely. I'll pop over this side and you guys can have a look. So, a couple of things I like about this boat and this cabin. The bed is super comfy, but it has a button that you press and it just draws natural air in from the outside. So I've been sleeping here all week without air conditioning, and it's just drawing air in from the pilot house, and it's quite comfortable. The reason being is, as you can see, if you look out the window right now, I'm below the waterline right now, so you wouldn't really want to open this window because we're a little too close to the waterline. She is a full keel boat. There's lots of boat in the water rather than on the water, hence why we are much lower and under the waterline. So having that natural air makes this space dry and comfortable. You don't get any smells, but we can also AC it or heat it. So depending on where you are in the world, super good. We have beautiful bedside tables. You can see we can set that one up on the side as well. And then just over here, a proper hanging locker with shelves. I've got a TV, and I've even got deep drawers under the beds for long time, probably seasonal clothing, to be fair. I wouldn't be storing luggage in any of these cabins because you have so much space in the lazarette aft, so if you're flying to the boat you can do that, but I think it's the seasonal clothing that you're probably going to put underneath the bed, and then come in and check out your head and shower. It's amazing. Like, this shower is huge. Look how much space you got. I've got the proper rain head shower thingamy here, and this one, so you've got everything you need. You've got ventilation just here, AC just here, more air extractor fan there. We have this macerator freshwater flush toilet system is quiet. So if you've been sailing and like you're familiar with the macerator toilets, you press the button, they're like wakes everyone up in the night. This one, you just press the button and it puts some fresh water, and then when you've done your business, you press it again, and for some reason the macerator is really quiet, so you're not going to wake everyone else up in the boat, and it works, which is great. Storage behind, courtesy lights. You can see that one hasn't actually been finished yet because it's still in commissioning. Drawers, storage, drawers, single sink this time. That's the soap dispenser, and this is the electric heated towel rack. Nice little convenient hook just there, and all these doors are plenty thick, and we have a rubber seal. So apparently the other guys were snoring this week. I didn't hear them, and they were just in this cabin. I slept straight through it, so the insulation works. It works just fine. Now, this current layout, again, I want you to think of this like a bit of a blank canvas. So this boat has been set up with the VIP to port, this twin singles to starboard. You can actually remove this centerpiece and join them together. So you do have that optionality if you wish, but some boats have even optioned crew spaces or crew cabins down here, and they've done different variations, even with the master cabin up on deck, because that office space I showed you before can be turned into a spacious master cabin if you wish. We'll get back up there later in the video, but you'll see we've got our air handling, we've got our reading lights, we've got our courtesy lights. This is hanging storage just in here. We still have the double bedside, super soft carpet. It's great. I like the flat screen not taking up too much space, And again, this head compartment, super spacious. Big windows, deep storage behind them, lots of depth here. You could technically put 2 sinks here, but yeah, maybe it's a little bit over the top. But nice drawers, deep storage, nice drawers again. Access, there's water tanks under there, I had a look, and then big shower. I like the stone finish, I think that's a nice touch. And then more air handling, and look at all these drawers. Look at all this, so much storage going on. You're never going to be wanting for sort of long-term operations. So in here, we actually get into the business. I filmed the engine bay without the engines on so you can hear me properly, but I'll just briefly run through what's going on here. We do cover this in more detail in the next video. Essentially, you've got your 24 volt systems, your 240 volt systems. We can send from ship to shore to generator 1 to generator 2, or run on the inverters by operating these different switches. We've got a couple of items, only 1 or 2 to be honest, that are non-inverter services. I think for example the hot tub is one of those. And your batteries, all your battery switches are just up here. Very simple, logical generator operation here, storage just here, and a little workspace. And the reason we have this workspace is because we have the washer and dryer in that location. So you may do some of your folding, or it could be another workbench. However, we've got 2 more workbenches in the engine bay, which is air conditioned. So come with me, we'll have a look. Welcome to the engine bay, ladies and gents. There's a lot going on here. We will cover it in more detail in the next video, but first, I just want to point out a couple of things. You can do engine operation from inside the engine bay if you want to do any diagnostics. This button here, it's the emergency bilge pump operation off the motor. It moves a huge amount of water, so you come down and press that in an emergency. AC, we do actually have air conditioning for this area, and it's got some techie equipment which I'm going to explain to you when we get there. We do have the dual Raycor fuel filter systems on both motors, so that's for the starboard engine just there, and the port engine we will have a look at in a second. Each engine alternator is in here. In terms of the checking the dipsticks for the oil, it's on the inboard side. Also for the coolant, it's on the inboard side. So for coming down and doing maintenance, you can do it yourself with relative ease. This is a hydraulic pump for the STAR system, stabilization at rest. We're going to cover that in more detail in the next video. And you may notice all of these floor hatches set up like that. So if you're down here and doing some work, all of them, boom, boom, will just slot into here. So if you're in a seaway, it just makes life a lot easier for you rather than them moving around all over the floor. Main engine exhaust starboard side. We've got some crank batteries just here. Now this is the electro strainer. So if I pull up this floor and show you, actually it might be easier on the other side because I've got the toolbox in the way. It's actually applying an electric current to the raw water intake for the AC system, something that you're going to be potentially running all the time if you're in the tropics. And what that does, it somewhat chlorinates the water with the electricity and then reduces or minimizes, potentially stops growth on your raw water intake, therefore allowing the AC to run consistently for long periods of time in the tropics, which is essential and super handy. This is one of your engine room extractor fans. Now these are actually reversible. We have them on both sides. So depending on your sea state and the wind, you can actually just have air coming in on the leeward side and air going out on the windward, i.e. the salty side. So that's important to know. This is our primary genset just here. The intake and the exhaust heads out through that bulkhead. It is a watertight bulkhead, and that heads out into the lazarette. We'll cover that when we get to the lazarette. So as I said, this is a watertight bulkhead, a dedicated watertight bulkhead. It's now moving into crouch space. into the lazarette, you do need to get around on your knees. So if you need to, get some knee pads. This is our track system, the AB track system. So that's the hydraulics for things like the thrusters and the stabilization. And you can see the hydraulics level just here. And I said I was going to show you this. It's the first time I've seen this. New system to me. But if we just look right there, that's what we're talking about. Raw water in for the AC, electrifying it, chlorinating it somewhat, and then stopping growth. Super interesting. This is the hydraulics of the port engine. We have the same thing on the starboard engine. You'll see us talk about that in more detail when we are actually doing the next video on the sea trial. And it's worth pointing out, again, you're going to be coming down here every few hours if you're doing a long crossing. So this makes life easy for moving around because you've got something to hold on to, but it's a proper workspace. We've got access to water, we've got a vise just here, and you can essentially store spares and bits and pieces on top here. Super handy. Fireboy system just over there. We've got sight gauges for all of the fuel tanks. So this is the day tank, then we have multiple other main tanks. We can control them with the fuel transfer manifold, okay? So that's here, and then we can actually polish the fuel. We can also do all of our oil changes. Everything is professionally laid out. And then you can see more filterings for various gen sets, but the main engine, this is the port engine. If you start to block a filter underway, you can actually just change it over and then swap out the dirty or clean the dirty filter and keep going. It is worth pointing out, whilst you're there, how bloody deep these bilges are. So they are a wet bilge, and it goes down there. I'm going to say 1.5 meters, maybe 2 meters. So that's giving you an indication of how ginormous the keel is underneath us, giving us directional stability, low center of gravity, and lots of boat in the water rather than on the water, which makes cruising life comfortable. And I've already seen the thickness of these holes, particularly up in the collision points, up in the bow. It's like that thick in the bulbous bow up the front of the boat, but then running down the rest of the hull, we're talking inches of solid glass. So this thing is built solid as, and then all the fine details. So when you have a look around, if you see that line there, everything's been done to exacting measurements with a torsion wrench. That's really, really good to see. Yeah, so hopefully that was useful, ladies and gents. We'll do a little bit more detail on operation in the next video when we're underway. Finally, it's just worth pointing out overhead, if you were doing some long-term maintenance and you need to get one of these engines out for a refurbishment, it is possible. And then there's a matching hatch up in the saloon floor upstairs to allow you to do that. Okay, it's time to check out the bridge, but it's worth noting fly screen once again. So you can set up these boats to give you full bug protection, which makes a lot of sense depending on where you are in the world. So lots of things happening up here and different ways to option this area should you wish. And I think you got to think about the mission profile and how you're going to use the boat as to what's going to suit you best. So it's worth noting, we've been on the boat for a couple of days now. We've actually spent a good chunk, maybe the majority of our time, hanging out up here. So if you're going to be an owner driver, if you're bringing family and mates, this may be the best layout for you, because it does become a bit of a congregation, that's the word I was looking for, congregation area, and you just get to enjoy the ride. That's a really nice place to hang out. I had my computer set up there all day yesterday. It's very pleasant. But just to explain some options for you, first things first, we have a head and a separate shower in here. Once again, I like that stone finish on the shower, that's super cool. But nice, got a view, big window there, vanity, everything you need. And then if you desired more space in this, if you were gonna say, turn this into a bigger cabin, maybe you were gonna sleep up here and not use it as an office, you could actually push this bulkhead all the way forward and then just have a bit of a bench seat here. That may then make it a bit more captain friendly, not so owner driver friendly. So you make the decision on what you are. But just check this out. Look at the glass here. If I press this button, it goes like that. So if you were just using this as the occasional overnight accommodation, it is now private. But then if you're operating the boat and you just press this button again, boom, boom, as you'll see me in the next video, all of a sudden your situational awareness is amazing without using cameras or the wing station. So that's pretty cool. Storage underneath here, you can see we've actually still got the plastic on the seats. It's a brand new boat still being commissioned. Wonderful big table just here. And then we do have access up to the Flybridge, but you can also delete these stairs. So again, it's you do you. You need to decide how you're going to operate the vessel. So you could have a little bit more space. And as I mentioned earlier on in the video, you don't have to have this port side walkway. You could delete that and then push out, but you're still going to have these doors. Now, I want to talk about these doors. I'm actually just going to do this. So on earlier Nordhavns and plenty trawler yachts you've probably seen before, to be fair, these doors are going to be made out of alloy. And then you're going to screw them in with probably stainless steel screws here. And if you look at like a 10 or a 20-year-old one, you're going to start to see bubbling making its way around because of just what happens when you have alloy and stainless and age. And that's annoying. And so these doors are actually totally molded out of fiberglass. They're custom made in-house, so they're going to last the life of the boat. And obviously, you can do that as we have been this week and just get some air in. And also if you're copping waves, I guess that's giving you a bit of a safety margin as well. Super cool, big fan, really, really like it. This is a drinks fridge, and then we've got workable space up above. And then we're gonna go into more detail on the helm in the next video, because that's what the sea trial is all about. But I'm just gonna say a quick hello to Jason. Mate, thank you for allowing us to use your boat. I'm very excited to be here. But guys, he's actually got a website. I'm going to link to it down below in the description. If you want to follow Jason's world travels, check out the link down below in the description, because it's going to be a super exciting adventure. I'm going to be following you.
Well, just to say, when
yes.
Me and my wife, right?
Yes.
She's greater than 50% of the boat.
It's so Nicole, isn't it?
Nicole, that's right. Yes, and she's excited, more excited than I am some days about being on the boat.
I love that.
You know, so I'm super keen to have her get her on and just start this world adventure.
So who's going to be actually doing all the filming? Is it Nicole's going to be running that?
Well, I think she's a little camera shy, so that's okay. I said she wants to do her makeup videos. You can do some makeup videos.
Okay.
I'll do everything else. And if you ever wanted to video me, I'm totally happy with it.
All right. Well, thank you to you, and thank you, Nicole, because this sort of opportunity, I hope, is helping a lot of people, so it's important. So yeah, definitely check out the link down below in the description. But just in terms of a brief overview of the helm, again, we're going to cover this in more detail in the next video. You can have massive multifunctional displays, and we have space for 4 of them across, and good visibility, no penetration of sun into a pilot house like this, so you can have good situational awareness. We have lots and lots of real estate for everything you need, and more up above overhead. Again, we'll do the deep dive on the next video. So from here, we have to head up to the Flybridge and finish this video for you. All right, guys, what do you think? Jump in the comments, let me know, do communicate, and thank you to you legends for giving me opportunities like this, because it was the last Nordhavn N68 video that thankfully got your attention, but it also got Nordhavn's attention, so that's why I'm here in California today. And I hope to do many more of these, because I just have a genuine interest for this genre. I just think it's awesome. I'm fascinated by it. I envisage myself having a floating office like this one day, so wouldn't that be wonderful? But it's not about me, it's about you. So who, in terms of what demographic may see the most value out of owning a Nordhavn N71, I think it's boaters who know what they want, boaters who know how they boat, and boaters with a very clear mission in mind. And definitely anyone who's had a Nordhavn before makes total sense. Those of you who are coming from the sailing world, and you now want to do things in a much more relaxed manner are gonna really appreciate this. You're gonna be surprised at the running costs as well if you're coming from a big sailboat, because it's not much different. So by the time you're investing lots of cash in sails and associated equipment, that's a hell of a lot of diesel that will probably get you around the world as well. So just change your mindset a little bit. Speeds are going to be what you are used to already. But so many more of you, if you are independently minded, if you are global in your approach to life, and if you want to see the world on your own terms, and I mean that, like, we have ocean crossing range and so much safety and redundancy that you can just do as you please. The other point I want to make, this is a fair investment. It's a big chunk of cash. So there are other options for you out there, which I also find personally quite interesting, that will do long range and be self-sustainable for great periods of time. But they're not going to have great resale. So with Nordhavn, these guys have been in operation with the same family ownership, running without debt for like 5 decades is what I was looking for. Consistent ownership, conservative approach, and knowing their market and what and who they are here to serve. It seems to have worked, and it seems to me that it will continue to work. So what does that mean for you? You're probably gonna get a lot of your money back, okay? I sold boats for 20 years, and I saw if you sort of do something adventurous or sway, way off center there with some wonderful ideas, it could be fun, it could be successful, but there's a very good chance you're going to burn up a lot of cash. The demand for something like a Nordhavn, in my observation, is global, because I literally see these boats on my travels. I went to 40 countries last year. I'm going to 10 countries next month. I seem to bump into Nordhavns in every single part of the world. And if I talk to someone who is, to be fair, interested in this topic, trawler style people will absolutely know a Nordhavn. So that's just going to affect your net result when you go to move to the next boat. And I think that's a pretty massive point, to be honest. So those sorts of people, anyone who is looking to do some skill stacking, take on that next step in your adventure. Maybe you want to learn how to navigate with a sextant and a compass because you've been doing electronic navigation all your life and you're ready to just expand your horizons. Something like this will just be such a great platform to do it on. It would just be a life-changing adventure machine. And you are, when we focus on this specific model, you are essentially dragging around a luxury house around the world that you can invite friends. Everyone's got their own space. You're all going to be comfortable, and you can design the boat in such a way that it suits whatever environment you wish to go to. If you want to spend time in the high latitudes and go look at glaciers, you can put hot floor, electric heating floor, that's the word I'm looking for, right throughout the whole boat. You can just be super comfy, and you can just set it up so your view out of those salon windows is going to be whatever you wish it to be every evening. It can just be that awesome. As you see on this one, we got the hot tub. This sounds like, or it looks like it's going to be the ultimate tropical adventure vessel. So it's those sorts of people. How much skill and knowledge do you need to run a boat like this? You are going to need a bit. You are going to need to be comfortable. You are going to have good situational awareness. You're going to have good hand-eye coordination to be relaxed and comfortable when you're coming in, maneuvering your boat in and amongst other vessels at the dock. But it's not a vessel that travels so fast and gets overtaken by the weather so quickly that it potentially would freak you out. So with some experience, with some knowledge, you will very easily, and obviously with training, transition into a vessel like this, and in a reasonable amount of time, you'll be bossing the parking in front of all the other boats and the alfresco restaurant, and people will be going, look at that guy, yeah, he knows what he's doing. You could totally be like that on one of these. So how does it drive, and what should you compare it to? I'm going to cover both of those topics in the next video. I would invite you to join us. It is a long one because I think you deserve the details, and I hope you've been waiting for it. So thanks very much, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like if you enjoy this content and you want to see more, and jump in the comments and tell me what you're comparing us with, and tell me what you think of this boat, because I love seeing that content and it really assists with formulating what boats we should test next. Love you lots. See you next time.